This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome back, everyone, for yet another session. Uh, so, successfully, we have been able to complete the understanding of the 6 knowledge areas as per Babok. We will close it with just this one particular slide, which talks about the underlying competencies. And once this is done, we will completely shift away from Babok and focus on things which are the general things that you need to understand for your career as a IT business analyst. Okay, so after the knowledge areas, the next thing that comes into picture are the underlying competencies, which is nothing but your intrinsic or your specific, individual personality traits or behavior characteristics that you need to really imbibe, which can help you at your work as a business analyst. Okay, and as we see, all these 6 terms are self-explanatory. It is just to give you an idea that okay, these are the things which will really help you further your work. Okay, so if you need to really spend more time on it, I would suggest you to go through the Babak. And my personal opinion is that you don't really, you shouldn't be actually, spending time on by hearting or mugging up these concepts unless and until you are preparing for any IIBA certification. Which again, is it really going to add value to your career growth or not? I leave it to you. I have already expressed my thoughts as an article earlier. So I leave it to you. But these things, these 6 are the categories into which your underlying competencies fall into. Okay. So moving further, I wanted to just touch upon the business analyst task across the different phase of a project. So those who are already working in the IT projects would be aware of it, that there is something called as SDLC, which stands for Software Development Life Cycle. It means when a particular IT project comes into picture. So where do you start from, and how does it end with the final product being used by the customer? That is referred to as SDLC. If you look at it at the major phases in which in this SDLC would be, you start with requirement gathering and analysis, wherein all the details have to be sorted out. Then there should be a proper planning of how this, development of the project should take place. Then there'll be a design. Design phase is nothing but specifically when there is a user interface related project, or even if that is not the case, even if the solution architecture has to be designed and you need to look at how the entire solution has to be, what is the front end, back end, all those things. So that can come into the design section. Okay. So requirement gathering, planning, design, then comes the implementation, or it is also called as development phase, where you have designed something, right? You need to do the actual coding part of it. And once the development is done, then next it is followed by the testing to ensure that whatever has been developed is really serving the purpose of the business objective. And once it has been thoroughly tested, then obviously the next step is about deployment, or taking it live or launching the application. Okay, once the launching of the application is also done, the next phase would be your maintenance and support. Means at least for the initial couple of months, when something has been launched and is being used by the end customers, there will be a lot of minor, issues cropping up, some production issues. Sometimes it could be critical. So all of those have to be worked at and fixed at as early as possible, right? So that phase is known as the maintenance and support. And finally, after that is done, you can end it with evaluation and feedback, wherein maybe after a couple of months of a particular software application being used by the end customers, there'll be some sort of evaluation done. Is it really meeting all the objectives or not, or where is it falling short, what can be done, and getting some real feedback from the actual users. All those things will happen. Okay, so all in all, again, to just give you a gist of it, as I said, it starts with requirements, then planning, then design, then development, then comes testing, deployment, maintenance support, and the final feedback section. Okay, so no matter what project you talk about, no matter which methodology you talk about, in fact, we will touch upon this SDLC later when we discuss agile in detail, but waterfall will have the same steps. Agile will have the same step, but followed in an iterative model, etc. So it is good to know this. For those who are already into the IT industry, they would be aware of it right from the very first year of working. But for someone who is new, it is good to know that this is how a project, is handled across multiple phases. Now, why are we talking about this here? Because we need to understand that, okay, if you land up in a particular project as a business analyst, then how do you contribute to the project at every phase of the project? If you remember, initially we did have a particular slide. Let me just quickly take you to that. So if you remember, we had this particular slide, right? So we spoke about what are the different steps in an IT project, right? But of course, we did even discuss about how a BA interacts. I thought of bringing a little bit more clarity into those particular points, so that's the reason we have this particular slide here. I would not really get into reading the text from each and every point that is mentioned here, but it is for you to pause the video and go through the text, because it is more or less easy to understand based on what is mentioned here. Okay, we are almost reaching that slide here. So we have covered already all these things. Okay, okay, so here if you see, this is just a sort of a rewording of whatever different phase I've mentioned. So it mentions ideation as the first one, then planning, defining, designing, building, testing, deployment, maintenance, and benefits realization. Now here what you see, each and every task that is mentioned here is something which a BA is involved in. So it starts with working with the executives and business on pre-analysis, and it goes all the way till working with the stakeholders to measure the benefits. And here you see something which is going across, across the entire project lifecycle, which is nothing but working with the change manager to support learning and development material and training. Means when you are actually working in a particular project, if you remember in our knowledge area of requirement analysis and design definition, as well as requirement lifecycle management, we did come across a point wherein we were telling that the requirements are not going to be stable, are going to be, evolving. Sometimes new features can get added, sometimes existing features can get removed. Sometimes, things may happen wherein a feature is supposed to be enhanced. So all of these things are possible. Now, adding requirements, enhancing existing requirements is understood, but why do you think removing an existing requirement can happen? Do you think that that is also possible in any project? Can you think of any example which can, make it more clear? Okay, now think of it like this. Okay, um, imagine at okay, this might be a little outdated by the time you people hear this video, but as of this August September 2023, what happened is Twitter got renamed to X. Okay, now imagine that your application, your food delivery app application, in order to make the login process very seamless, what you did is you gave multiple options. Like apart from username and password, you allowed the customer to log in using Google, log in using Facebook, and you have also added login using Twitter. Okay. Now what has happened is that Twitter all of a sudden got changed to X. The look and feel of that has changed. The logo has changed. The color has changed. The font has changed. Everything has changed. Now, do you really want to make all of those changes in your app also? Because you don't know, tomorrow X might change to Y. You don't know, anything can happen to Twitter. It is so many random things happening, right? So here you might think that, okay, I might as well remove this login option, because anyways I don't have too many people, too many customers log in using Twitter. So I might have added this as a core requirement earlier, but now I feel no, I don't want to take a risk. I don't want to keep on tweaking this whenever Musk's mindset changes. So I might as well remove this. That can happen. Another example, which can be more suitable across different regions and all this, you are working in a particular project which has a lot of, you know, uh, compliance to be it has to be compliant with the central regulatory body, and your central regulatory body comes up with a change or a mention about an existing practice which has to be removed. For example, let's say you're working on a banking app, or you're working on payments, okay, payments related section of your food delivery app itself. And let's say the central regulatory body all of a sudden says that internet banking should not be used for any payment methods. All the payments of which are earlier using internet banking should follow the UPI route. Okay, it's a very drastic change. It may never happen, but just giving you a random example. So if your RBI, the Central Banking Authority of India, says this, then it has to be followed by all the e-commerce platforms, all the cab-related platforms, your food delivery apps, everything. They have to remove that internet banking option and rather use the UPI platform-related options. So what is happening here? A requirement which was there, which was already been considered and almost implemented also, is getting removed altogether because something has happened outside the control of your business. Okay, so things like that. So you can actually go about removing the existing requirements also. That's the gist of it. So again, my suggestion is pause this video and go through each and every point that has been mentioned here. The reason why I'm not really doing it is because I want to keep the entire session, uh, short and crisp, and allow you to spend more time and do some analysis, some research on your side, and that will help you in order to come up with some questions and you know increase your learning process efficiency and all. Okay, so pause the video, go through the text. It should be easy to understand. Just in case if you're not, then we can definitely have the one-to-one interaction over the weekend, and we can try to close this point. Okay, yeah, we'll close this here. Thanks everyone.